as we saw yesterday, many conservatives are defending Daniel Penny after a grand jury indicted him. Now, Big Waz and I did go in depth on this story, talked about different aspects of it too. I think in a very, very genuine way. But of course, Charlie Kirk had to make a mockery of this whole thing, and he wasn't gonna stay silent. Now he is claiming that this is a continuation of the so-called war on white people. Take a look.
Helen, great job. The American conservative, the war on white people continues, and we're seeing it play out in this terrible case in New York City, where a white Marine decided to do the right thing against a black mentally ill criminal. And he wasn't looking at things through race. He doesn't have a racist bone in his body. But if it was just two blacks fighting, it would have just been whatever. We know that as a fact. Why do we know that as a fact? Because there are hundreds of blacks that kill other blacks every single month in this country, and no one cares. But if a white person gets in an altercation with a black person, everyone loses their mind. And now he's facing 15 years for second-degree manslaughter. Helen, thank you so much. Great work. And thank you for your courage to call it out what it is, which is an outright war on white people.
I'm telling you, y'all, you know what it's taking from me right now. Let's go ahead and put the mayor up. Let's just unpack this right now. Charlie Kirk is a liar, a grifter. He shouldn't even have a show. You want to talk about most violent crime is intraracial. And like he gives a damn about black violence in black communities. He don't care about white violence in white communities, Asian violence in Asian communities, Arab violence in Arab communities. In other words, America, don't let this false prophet fool you. Most violent crime is intraracial, period. And if he cared about that, Mayor, then he would be coming at this thing a different way. But the man had the pure, unadulterated gall to fix his mouth to talk about if this had to happen, if Daniel Penny was black, and the way he described this homeless man, this is a life. Let's understand something. He was indicted. He hasn't been convicted of anything. A man lost his life. Neely was killed, was choked out. Now, in the court of law, Penny's lawyers are going to get an opportunity to state his case, and a jury is going to hear it. And ultimately, they're going to make a decision, and then the judge is going to make a sentence. That is America. But all of a sudden, Charlie Kirk and others of his ilk want to make sure, Mayor, make it seem like it's foreign for a grand jury to recommend that this goes to trial.
Well, I mean, for him and those that see the world like him, it is foreign that a white man is being on trial for killing a black man. Like, he wants America to be the days of the lynching again, apparently. Listen, let's be honest. There's so many dog whistles in this thing. They're just bullhorns, right? He started out by saying, this white Marine, he's automatically trying to tell white people this is someone you should be proud of, someone you should respect, as if the Marine Corps does not have deep-seated racism. There was a huge report that just came out in 2021 about my Marine Corps, not Charlie Kirk's, but I'm a Marine veteran, and I know firsthand of all the racism and racists that are wearing that uniform, that beautiful uniform. So miss me with that idea that you're trying to hearken support for this guy just because he was a Marine. Secondly, you call this man a criminal for what? Yes, he was mentally ill, and this is also you trying to say something is wrong and also put a stigma on mental ill folk. On top of that, this criminal for what? His blackness is the only thing, I guess, because there was no criminal acts taking place that day. All of the myths that came out about him being aggressive have been dispelled. He was not being aggressive. He was hungry. He was having an episode, but that's not criminal. So we see what's happening here. Furthermore, this idea that there's an attack on white America when America is controlled and does nothing but benefit the whiteness that exists daily is this ridiculous need for white people to see the world like Charlie Kirk, to want to go back when times only included them, protected them. This idea that you can kill someone in daylight and still be honored shows you how high Americans' tolerance is for black pain.
Yeah, very much so, Mayor. And to call him, yeah, as you said, a homeless criminal. You're right. I mean, yes, did Neely have a record? Yeah, and he served his time for that record too. And some of the things that he did, they were wrong. They were totally wrong. They were illegal, and he served his time for it. But as the mayor lays out, America, I want you to understand this. On that particular day, Neely was just acting out in terms of his hunger and his desperation, but he didn't attack anyone. And to choke the man out like that, I mean, you gotta say that it was wrong. There was plenty of other people on that train. Nobody but Penny decided to grab the man by his neck and choke him till he died. Those are facts. He grabbed the man by the neck, choked him until he died. He's going to trial. He can argue his case. His lawyers will argue his case in trial, but Charlie Kirk is vile. You understand me? If you guys want to talk about, and Mayor, I was looking at a clip and I wish I had told the team we should have put it up. Dr. William Darity was at an event and he was asked about, black on black crime or violence. I forget exactly how the question was framed, but Dr. William Darity did not mince any words. And I'm paraphrasing him, but he basically laid out from a historical perspective that some of the most violent people on the face of the earth in terms of global violence, white people, European people, period. I mean, he just laid it. I mean, he slapped that person down just like that. And you know what? Y'all might not like it, but it is the truth historically. Go and look it up. So basically, Dr. William Darity was saying, miss me with this whole notion of black on black crime. Because if you want to talk about crime and violence, white people historically have been some of the most violent people to walk the face of the earth. The sun never set on the British Empire. Let us not forget that, what was done to black and brown communities worldwide at the hands of European nations. Charlie Kirk, and if you understood that, you would not have fixed your mouth, but you have no shame, and all you doing is trying to divide. This is another reason why they don't want black history taught in schools. They don't want anybody's history taught in schools because they don't want the truth to be told. When I think about the summer of 1919, all the violence that was perpetrated on black people, black communities in that summer, one of the most bloodiest summers in the United States history. When I think about Black Wall Street, violence perpetrated against a prosperous black community at the hands of white terrorists. And we can go on and on and on. Mayor, we need to go ahead and do a whole documentary or explainer video about collective white violence. Absolutely. And what it has done to the fabric of not only this country, but the world.
And I think people like Charlie Kirk does a huge disservice to white folk when you give them this space to be this dumb. Like, because the idea that violence, what you're really critiquing is American housing policy when you talk about black on black crime. Because if you're being honest, black on black crime is equal to the same as Asian on Asian crime, Hispanic on Hispanic crime, and white on white. And what you're really saying is America in 2023 is still segregated. We've not moved to a point where we can live with each other because of housing policies, because of the way tax codes and everything are set up, because of the way we don't allow black and brown people to get jobs because of their names and because of racist biases. So we can't afford to live where our white counterparts live. So let's not even get on this idea that black people are more violent than white people. That trope has been put to bed. I mean, it was white people who were having cookouts around black bodies swinging from trees. And we ain't talking about in ancient history. We're talking about in my mom and dad lifetime. So so when you say you can miss me, me too, like Darity. I think they can miss me as well. And I think what happens here though is the display of ignorance has become so ridiculous in this country that we are not just a laughing stock amongst ourselves. We're to a point where it has become dangerous. So dangerous that white people are acting on this idea that there's a war against them and causing harm to other people.
Yeah, I mean, they really are starting to believe this, and nothing can be further than the truth. And Charlie Kirk, I mean, he's just a hate prophet. That's what he is.